Right guys, so why are we rarely here? We're here because the globalist plan is to squeeze us into submission and compliance through any means necessary. How are they going to do that? They're going to do that with the planned food shortages, the increase of fuel prices, increase of food prices, increase of building material prices, increase of general commodities, the increase of interest rates, and the decrease of property prices. Electricity shortages, the housing crisis, which we are already experiencing, with everyday Queenslanders living in family garages and in tents at dams. This is a problem that a lot of this population don't actually know about yet. For the last 12 months, there's been a massive increase of southerners coming to move up to Queensland. The rent has gone through the roof, the housing prices has gone through the roof. Landlords are telling the existing Queensland tenants that they're going to sell the house so the tenants move out, then they jack the rent by $200 a week. Sight unseen, someone from Melbourne or Sydney comes up and pays that rent. We can't afford it, they can, we get pushed out. There is no vacancy. We can't get rental houses. The on-purpose crash of our economy to usher in the one world government's totalitarian society based on the total control, oppression, manipulation and surveillance of the people. The social credit point system, adopted from the Chinese Communist Party's current model, intertwined with the digital ID. What exactly is this? This is a system where the so-called authorities want to give us a score. The score is determined by our behaviour and our undertakings in our day-to-day life. Have you been a good boy? You can have a couple extra points. For example, me standing here on this stage, exposing government corruption and violation of human rights, I would have a social credit score of -5 billion. I'm going for -10 billion soon, so. Based on your social credit score, depends on what you can do. Too low a score means your bus and train ticket won't work, preventing you from travelling to see your family and friends and even to work. Get your score above a certain level and you'll be rewarded by entering to theme parks on the weekend. Ooh, theme parks. What a joyous world to be living in. That's all well and good, but to get into the theme park or ride the train, you'll be required to be jabbed every 3 months, get microchipped, and be compliant on every single level that they want you to be compliant on. As soon as you step back, your points go down. This intertwines with the millions of CCTV cameras that have been hooked into the 5G network, the Internet of Things, the facial recognition technology. You step out of your house, they know where you're going before you know. They're all over you. Saul Alinsky was an activist in the 60s who detailed 8 control measures to transform a society into a communist state. Compare each of these measures with where we sit currently. Healthcare. Control healthcare and you control the people. Tick. Poverty. Increase the poverty level as high as possible. Poor people are easier to control and will not fight back if you provide everything for them to live. Now, what's the NWA motto? Out of the ashes, we will rise. They're creating the problem and providing the solution. Now, I spoke about people not being able to live in their homes, they're living in tents and garages. It's an issue for some of us. For everybody here, I don't think most of us are probably living above the poverty line. But watch out, because it's going to start sneaking up on us, and we need to be aware of that. Put things in place now. Debt. Increase the debt level to an unsustainable level. That way you are able to increase taxes, and this will produce more poverty. Debt. High debt. Do we have high debt? Tick. Gun control. Remove the ability to defend themselves from government. That way you are able to create a police state. I personally know that one's true. That's a tick. Welfare. Take control of every aspect, food, housing, income, for example, off their lives, because that will make them fully dependent on the government. Tick. Where we get our food from those supermarkets. Education. Take control of what people read and listen to, and take control of what the children in school learn. Tick. Religion. Remove belief in God from the government and schools because the people need to believe in only the government, knowing is what is best for the people. That's an interesting one. Class warfare. Divide the people into wealthy and the poor. Eliminate the middle class. This will cause more discontent and it will be easier to tax the wealthy with the support of the poor. They create animosity between two groups. This is what they do. They create division with any technique they can. This really is in full swing, guys, and they're starting to target anyone that pushes back, even harder than what they have been in the past. Both my bank accounts were closed this week, without notice and without reason. Let's hear it for the bank, the big banks, let's hear it. That probably doesn't shock some of you that know how I operate because I'm always on the front foot and our movement is growing and that's making them a little bit nervous. So they're trying to slow us down by pulling out shit like that. You think that's going to stop me? It makes the fire burn a little bit hotter. How many people are here for the first time today, guys, at a TPR rally? Stick your hands in the air. There's few out there. Welcome, guys. How many people here are vaccinated? Hands in the air, guys, don't be shy. So we've got a few around. Welcome, guys. How many here are unvaccinated? We're a little bit outnumbered there. How many darkies we got in the crowd today? Oh, bloody hell. Better start being a bit nicer to you guys there. How many white fellas in the crowd? A few guys around. How many Christians? How many Muslims here? There we go, we've got a few. How many non-religious people? How many young? How many old? Look around, guys. We are a truly diverse group. And that's interesting because when I first started doing this about 5 years ago, we were a bunch of old women. Literally. A bunch of old women. We're diversifying, which means the problem's becoming bigger and people are starting to wake up, which is exactly what we need to see. So we should take confidence in that and now assist the wakening up process. So for you guys that are new here today, if the boys are on the money, they'd have a couple of big TPR flags set up, but they'll get a talking to a bit later on. The logo, guys, starts off black arm and white arm, symbolises people's perceived differences. They start off separate, but they float out into the middle and they come together. When they come together, they create the lion, which is a symbol of power and strength. The fingers are in the shape of a V. The V is for victory and peace. So overall, you have people forgetting their differences, truly forgetting their small differences, focusing on the bigger picture and coming together to create a unit, a powerful and strong unit. And through this powerful and strong unit, named the People's Revolution, we'll achieve victory through peace. So I'd like to welcome you guys into the family today. So I mentioned my bank account's been closed. Before I go there, guys, actually before I even go there, we're going to have a couple of speeches. We're going to go on one kick-ass march over the bridge into the city and head back into this park. After that, we got another speech and some live music, so stick around for that, guys, hang out. And this is where you meet your tribe. This is where you drop your barriers, you know, your social anxiety, and you start meeting people and you start meeting your community. This is where we start growing. So let's take a quick, brief look at the attempts of intimidation over the last 2 years. My only crime being standing up for our collective human rights against a tyrannical and corrupt government. In August and September of 2020, cops targeted me in a weak attempt to dissuade me from continuing in my role. They fined me for gathering in a group of more than 10, while the other 9,999 people in attendance were left alone. They then began to turn up at home and harass my partner while I was at work, parking squad cars out the front, while my kids spied on them with binoculars for fun and reported back to me what was happening. They then began to turn up at home another jab victim. Thanks, Greg. They then began to turn up at home. I already said that. In the middle of 21, the cops turned up at my work and executed a false charge of driving on a suspended licence, which I successfully fought and had thrown out of court at a later date. Just days after that charge, they turned back up at home, revoked my firearms and my firearms licence, citing the recent charge of driving on a suspended licence as a reason for the revocation. I also fought that charge myself in the tribunal successfully and had my firearms returned in March of this year. And the best part of that was not the fact that I had my firearms licence and my guns returned. It was the fact that I defended myself and I spoke the truth, and only the truth, to the police, and outlined a few certain things which made them change their mind. When you live by the truth and you're a good person and all you're trying to do is help people, you have nothing to hide. So don't try and hide anything. Be open and speak the truth and you'll be looked after. In the same week that I was falsely charged with driving a suspended licence and had my firearms revoked, I was also wrongly detained and released, then falsely arrested and unarrested. I was then charged twice at the failed truckie blockade on the M1 highway, thanks to Pauline Hanson's hopelessly selfish publicity stunt. Who remembers the Block the Bill campaign in March, guys? Remember how the people walked through the police line in the pouring rain to the sound of the beat of the drum and marched through Queen Street Mall? It was a hell of a day, that was. He just left me, I don't know where he's going. Well, now the Brisbane City Council have weighed into the battle and have charged me twice for that incident, so I've accepted their challenge to once again encroach on our human rights, and we'll be doing battle with them in court sometime in the near future. Add that to my list of never-ending court appearances. My missus is very happy with me, my performance. And most recently, the banks have joined the fight against me with the Communist Bank of Australia. Did I say Communist Bank? I meant to say Commonwealth Bank of Australia, but when it comes to the commonwealth of the people, that has nothing to do with that bank. So I do think that the Communist Bank of Australia is a lot more fitting and we should stick with that. And don't worry, I'm going to secure my home, because my house loans with Bank West, same thing. A few days after, Bank West did the same thing to me. I'm going to secure my finances, I'm going to secure my home, and there's going to be a plan that we're going to execute together. They're messing with the wrong people. They're going to feel some hurt from this. We're going to stick together. The banks might be big, but the people are bigger, and we need to show them that. So both the CBA and Bank West sent me letters stating they closed my account. In fact, after 27 years of being with the Communist Bank of Australia, they sent me a text message saying we're closing your accounts. 27 years, and they're going to send me a text message and do me like that. More fire in the belly. So now I've got 27 days to find a new lender, secure the home loan and my finances, and move to another bank, which I will do easily, so don't stress about that. But we need to be aware of what's happening, because it doesn't stop here. They're not going to just do this to me. Who do you think they come after next? Anyone that wants to stand up, they're going to be targeting. So they're coming at me hard now, guys, and I need your support now more than ever. I need you to trust me and walk with me and support me. Because when I feel your support, I know I'm not walking alone. And that's empowering for myself. And if I'm feeling empowered, then I empower you guys, and we're just a circle of empowerment going forward. And nothing can stop us then. We have to have each other's backs. All right, guys, so we're in a war. It's not a conventional war with guns. It's a psychological war, a war of information, a spiritual war. They've tricked us. You look at the human race at the moment, we've been absolutely fooled. It's an absolutely disgraceful time, but also a very interesting time to be alive. And I do believe that we've all chosen to be here. I know I've chosen to be here at this stage in the progression of the human race to fight this war. And I'm pretty sure if you guys dig deep and have a look inside yourself, you'll feel that same thing. And then you're going to lift, and that fire's going to burn in you as well. And then we're going to start doing real stuff together. Morale, momentum, and numbers. 3 things you'll never win any war without. Whether it be a conventional war or a psychological war. These rallies lift our morale. They create momentum and build our numbers. And that's why I keep turning back here and doing this with you guys, because I like swearing, I always hold back. I don't want to do push-ups. Because it's important that we keep doing this, guys, to keep those things going forward. But we all know we can't win this war with just rallies. There has to be planning, strategy, and perfect execution of these strategies to win ourselves battles, and this takes resources. Manpower and woman power. I don't want to get myself in trouble. And what's that thing in the middle? They call it gender fluid power, and 357 other genders power as well. So we're, 2022, man, shit. Time, energy, and also funds. We have a big outlay on bills just per month, over $1,000. The Guardians are about $600 each to kit out. So if you don't know the Guardians guys, they're the guys in the green shirts, body cams, radios, all that sort of thing. Their job is to film everything, not in a creepy NWO surveillance type of way. Our mightiest weapon is the camera at these things. The Queensland Police have been good. But if they step out of line, I've told them that we will prosecute you in a court privately, because we will have it documented, you'll be on camera. They've been respectful towards us and we've reciprocated. If anyone in the crowd has any funny ideas, you'll be caught on camera and you'll be dealt with very quickly. The police work with us. We deal with the people here, because they're our people, right? If someone messes up, we'll deal with them. The police have given us permission to do that. So guys, those red tins going around, if you can afford to make a financial contribution, then do so. If you can't, then contribute in another way. You know what way you can contribute, I'll leave that up to you. Pull your weight. If we all pull our weight, this is going to be over a lot quicker. Speaking of a pumping revolution, it's pumping harder now than it ever has in the start of 2020. The Dutch farmers gathering hundreds of thousands, blocking highways in tractors, spraying government buildings with trucks in fecal matter. Let's give it up for the Dutch farmers, guys. The Georgia Guidestones, which were erected in the 80s, and outlined the plan to reduce the global population to just 500 million, they were blown to smithereens. Not condoning violence, just an observation. The tenacious Sri Lankans storming government buildings and taking them over. Now, they might not have been organised enough, and they left a power vacuum open for more corruption to fill the void. So I've been speaking to a couple of people in Sri Lanka, and that's what happened. That movement was organic. The people rose, and authentically they took over government buildings. However, they didn't have the foresight to have an organised group ready to take over. A government group came in with different coloured clothes on, and they're back in power now, so it's going to be another cycle for them. We need to learn from that, guys, and realise that when this power structure falls, and it will fall, that we need to be organised and ready. And hopefully by that stage, the majority of the police force will be on our side, and the military too. Because when they start seeing these conspiracy theories start coming true, they might start thinking twice about the things that we've been thinking for a long time. Now, we've spoken about the problems and plans of the enemy, and now it's time to outline one of our most important solutions going forward, the TPR Connect community groups. These groups will empower our communities to such a level that in time they will morph into a self-reliant a self-sufficient parallel society, which when the time is right and the current powers that come to an end will become the new society. This is why the TPR Connect tent today is the most important tent here today. We want to sign you up to one of the groups that interest you. There's 9 different groups. Find what interests you and put your name on it. Within a few weeks, we'll be hosting a private session with the people that have nominated themselves as potential leaders for their group in their area, in one of the 9 special interest groups. After which, we'll start launching these groups, which is why you have to be signed up now, so we can launch it, contact you by phone and email, and say we're on, let's get the ball rolling. Otherwise, what are we doing? We're sitting here like sitting ducks. It's time to get into action, and that takes your time, it takes your commitment, it takes your sacrifice. That's all it takes. It's up to you. If you don't come, it doesn't happen. So guys, if you haven't already done so, at some stage today, head over to that tent and sign up to one of the groups, or jump on the website. And we just built a new website. It's a little bit better looking, which is a good thing. We're going forward in that Department of Technology, which we severely are lacking. www.thepeoplesrevolution.com.au. Click on the TPR Connect groups and sign up, please. And if you fancy yourself as a bit of a coordinator, do you reckon if you can fill those roles, or if you're highly knowledgeable in one of those areas, sign up. Let us know. And for you guys that have already heard this spiel about the Connect groups, just bear with me. I want to run through these groups very quickly for the newcomers and let them know what it's about. So the first overarching group is a TPR Connect community group. There's going to be one for each area. TPR Community Connect group is the core group for your local area. All interest groups will branch off from the community group, and everyone will be automatically added to the community group in their area when they register for an interest group. So the interest groups, guys, the first one is the school group, TPR Connect Community School Group. Connecting teachers, parents and students with the intention of offering support and establishing community schooling actions. This is very important because what are they actually teaching in our schools? Teaching our kids in the schools to be compliant and teaching them to be smart enough to press some buttons, but not really smart enough to ask questions and think for themselves. TPR Connect youth groups, connecting our youngsters with each other to build meaningful relationships, an important step in strengthening our community. The wall theory. You've got the wall here. Me and you and everybody older, we're on this side of the wall. Every day that wall pushes us closer to the edge where we pass away and we return. This side of the wall is the younger generations and all the future generations yet to come. They don't really care what happens to us. We can come in here and sing and dance and scream and whatever. They know that wall's going to push us off the edge one day. They know that if I get this first generation here, then all the other generations on this side are taken care of. They're going for the kids. It makes perfect sense. It's a good plan. So we need to respond to that and educate and condition our kids to be free thinkers and ask questions. We shape our kids, so let's shape them properly. Throw the TV out, you don't need it, it's poison. TPR Connect health groups, connecting health practitioners with the community to establish our own systems in a world where your health needs are now being held for ransom. We've all heard the stories of you can't get into the hospital to witness the birth of your kid if you haven't had the vaccine, or you're not wearing a mask, they won't let you in, all this sort of crap. It's a public hospital and the public's sick and they're not letting them in. It's sort of winding back slowly, but what do you think is going to come in the future? They're going to wind it, ramp it straight back up. These sort of things need to be built on. We're sitting ducks at the moment. We need to start getting active in this. So join these groups if you're a doctor or a nurse, or you think that's going to be down your path, and get involved. QHPA, go have a chat to them today as well. TPR Connect, non-violent guerrilla activism. Connecting hardcore activists. We can perform well-planned execution of certain tasks, non-violent tasks, propaganda campaigns of our own that are based on the truth, hanging bedsheets over highways in coordinated fashion all around the country in the same night. So the whole country will be painted in bedsheets with a single message on it. Who's driven up on the Bruce Highway to the Sunshine Coast lately and they've seen all the spray painting on the overpasses? Highly effective. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. The political groups, connecting politically active people to engage in political pressure campaigns and to become more effective using this avenue. And the Be Ready groups, teaching and sharing skills to be ready for any situation in an increasingly volatile world. from food growing, to hunting, to shelter making, and everything in between. A lot of these skills, many of us lack. Whenever my mates come around, I light a fire. Every time, whether it's the middle of summer, we'll still light a fire, and we'll sit around, we'll put some music on, and do our thing. My friend has seen me do this 1,000 times. I went for a shower one night, he got there early, I came out, he's trying to light a log with a lighter. And I just sat there and watched him from inside and just shook my head for about 30 seconds. I thought he was pulling the piss, but he wasn't, he was serious. Then I went out and I yelled at him, I said, sit down man, I don't want to see you the rest of the night. The industry employee groups, connecting people with specific industries such as education, healthcare, logistics and trades, etc. This is about forming our free unions to be in, with the ability to coordinate nationwide strikes at the right time while avoiding the need for industrial action, permits and fines. You only need the people, you only need the numbers. When you're on the same database, it only takes one call. And then when you respond to that, that industry is in big trouble and then you can start making demands. The last one, guys, the business owners group. Creating business alliances and a register where the community can search and support your business. This is all about empowering business owners because they are going to become under the pump again. And look, we all saw what happened down at the Gold Coast in Ormo that time when we went down and defended that cafe from the cops. 300 of us links arms, formed the human shield and protected that business. These business owners need to start hooking up with each other and keeping each other in the loop and working as an alliance. Again, guys, these are the groups that will offer us safety, connection, and progression. And all of that depends on how much you get involved as an individual. Without you guys, this is nothing. Without you standing here, this is nothing. Without you guys getting involved and getting active, this is nothing. This whole movement falls away and they take control. It comes down to you as an individual. Not a group. Don't look at us like a group. It's an individual effort that makes this better. You can't rely on the group, rely on yourself. We need to rely on you.